Well, it's almost been 50 long years since a 12-year-old boy called Terry Floyd was last seen in the Victorian country town of Avoca. Now, devastatingly, no one's ever been charged over his disappearance. His remains is presumed dead. His remains have never been found. But my good friend, former radio broadcaster but podcast extraordinaire now, Dee Dee Dunleavy, is hoping she can open up this case and bring justice to the family that's long been denied. I'm pleased to say she joins me now. I tell you what, I love a podcast, right? I am gripped by your podcast, The Boy in the Gold Mine. So all credit to you. What made you pick up this harrowing case?
Charlie Bazina, former homicide detective. He used to be a regular on my radio show. Yeah. And he's been working as a private investigator on this case since 2011. Right. And I think when I stopped doing radio, he said, come on, here's a case, have a look at this. And so I started to read the brief of evidence from the first inquest that happened in 2001. And each page I turned, my jaw was dropping open at the failures of police along the way and the things that Charlie told me, the new evidence that he and Daryl had uncovered. I thought there's enough in this as a story to chase. I think there are two aims. One is Daryl is still trying to find his brother's remains.
So this is the brother?
Yes, Daryl Floyd is his brother. Terry was his older brother. So Daryl was 10 and Terry was 12 when he went missing. And we have every belief, and I absolutely back both Daryl and Charlie Bazina, that Terry's remains are in a gold mine just outside of Avoca. And Daryl has literally been digging through that dirt, trying to find his brother's remains and finding things, finding a silver chain identical to the one that Terry was wearing when he disappeared, buttons from a denim jacket. Terry was wearing one when he disappeared. Pieces of a shoe, exactly the size that Terry was wearing. So for Daryl, the most important thing is to finish this dig, and he's so close. Mines are not just a shaft, there are actually branches that come off it. He's to the bottom of the shaft. He needs to exhaust the 3 branches to know that his brother's remains aren't there. I think they are, he thinks they are, and he needs the funding to finish this mine search.
So just so people understand, this is gold mine country in central Victoria, and people have thrown their rubbish in these gold mines, many of them for many years. He's dug through, decades of rubbish. He's down now at the pointy end. Yep. He's got an application in with the Victorian government. They fund these sorts of inquiries or investigations to find the bodies of victims, but they're sitting on their hands here.
Since 2022, that was the last that Daryl spoke to the police minister and was told there'd be a conversation. That conversation never happened. He's literally begging for that last bit of funding. Now, he's applied for $100,000. He thinks realistically, 10, maybe 20,000 will be enough. And that goes for fuel to drive the equipment and the air compressors and those sorts of things, and safety measures that they have to do to protect the miners. But that's all he wants. He wants to find the remains of his brothers. And cadaver dogs have been run over some of the spoil that's been pulled from the mine, and they've reacted positively to human remains. So
let's, everyone at home, please pressure the Victorian government, if you can hit the phones and send in emails, to put this money on the table to bring closure here. But like Charlie Bazina, I'm listening to this case, it reminds me so much of Chris Dawson's case, Hedley Thomas's podcast, where the police let down the family all the way along. Justice has been served there. These persons of interest, if I can call them that, involved or likely involved in this disappearance, they're still alive. There's got to be justice, Dee Dee.
Indeed. And only one of them has been named officially as a person of interest, the main suspect. No, and he has a criminal record and has been jailed for paedophilia. He was on bail for molesting a child in a toilet block at the time that Terry went missing. And we have uncovered, or Charlie Bazina has uncovered, and I was able to interview on the podcast, a woman who positively identified this particular man at the wheel of a car that was next to Terry at the moment that he disappeared.
OK, you're going to stay across it. We'll stay across it here. My viewers, you'll pressure the Victorian government to put some money on the table. Please, the podcast is one of the top podcasts in Australia, The Boy in the Gold Mine.